Yo, mabuhay and what's good, guys? Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today we have a helpful one for you new Axie players. I'm going to be talking about the best overall battle position for beginners. Let's go. Alright, so let's talk about battle positions. For those of you who don't know, battle positions are very important because they determine the attack priority for both you and your enemy. In other words, the way your axies are positioned on the battlefield will determine which enemy axie your team will attack first, and also which axie on your team your enemy will attack first. So when thinking about battle positioning, you should always be thinking about the best position for both attacking and defending from your enemy. But keep in mind, once you set your positions, you cannot change it during the game. If this is your first time playing Axie, then you're going to quickly notice that there are a ton of different types of battle layouts in the game. So this is why I wanted to create a video to show the importance of battle positioning and to show why some players choose certain layouts over others. Alright, so let's get into it, guys. The most important rule to know is that axies will always attack the other enemy axie that is closest to them. This is the golden rule. So if your opponent's team is positioned like this, your team will always attack the front axie first, the midliner second, and then the backliner last. And if you're positioned like this, the same thing applies to your team. Pretty simple, right? Alright, so then let's make things a little bit more complicated. What if your opponent has axies positioned like this? This is a triangle type position. People like to use this position or similar positions such as this, a sort of reverse triangle, because they want to spread the damage between multiple axes. You might be asking how this works. Well, if we stick to the golden rule that all axes will always attack enemies that are closest to them, then we can see that if some of our axes are positioned like we showed earlier, then our axie here in the front will have a 50-50 chance of attacking either the top or bottom enemy, since both enemy axes are positioned the same distance away from this axie. This may or may not be a good decision by your opponent depending on his strategy, but I don't recommend this for beginners. So as you can probably tell by now, when I'm talking about defense, I tend to recommend a horizontal type of setup. And when it comes to horizontal setups, we have a few to choose from. We have this, and maybe a few others. But for the most part, attack priority coming from your opponent is very similar. They will attack this axie, and then this, and finally this one. So there isn't too much to worry about defensively when taking this kind of horizontal lineup. So when we're talking about the best battle position for beginners, how do we know which one is the best if they pretty much look similar to each other? It's time to put on our offensive thinking cap on and think, what would give me the best advantage no matter what kind of positioning my opponent takes? I'm going to save you a lot of time, guys, and I'm just going to show you straight up. It's this one. So how is this the best position? Well, because no matter what position your enemy takes, they are still going to be organized and prioritized in a linear fashion, even if it doesn't really look so linear. Let me explain. Alright guys, so this is the most obvious one. We already saw this. If I attack the enemy, I'm going to prioritize axie 1, 2, and then 3. So for example 2, guys, you can see our opponent has grouped his axes closer together, but priority is still obvious. We're going to be attacking the front liner first, midliner second, and the backliner third. Alright guys, in this example, we're going to see the true power of our positioning. Now you can see our opponent has decided to take a triangle or reverse triangle type of position where two of his axes are on the same column stacked on top of each other, and this gives my front liner tank a 50-50 chance to attack either one of them. Now if I kept my midliner and my backliner in the same lane as my tank, then they too would also have a 50-50 chance to attack those two axes. However, by staggering my beast and bird up top, now you can see there's a little bit of a distance difference, just enough for me to prioritize this axie first and this axie second. We no longer have to give our beast and bird a 50-50 chance to attack either of these axes. Alright, one last example, guys. You can see that our enemy decided to group his axies here close together at the bottom. The tank and the beast look like they're equally distanced apart from my beast and my bird. But in this position, we have just as much distance also for our bird and beast to prioritize. First his tank, second his beast, and finally his aqua. So there's no place our opponents can hide. Practically any setup against our positioning here will always keep our enemies prioritized. And another thing to note is that if your enemy doesn't take these positions I discussed, and maybe he's even using the exact layout that you're using, then the game is equal in terms of positioning already. So basically what you're doing is giving yourself an advantage for any player that decides to take any sort of split or triangle type of defense. And this is why this layout is the best type of position, not only for beginners, but even seasoned players. But definitely use it if you're new to playing Axie Iinfinity. Now, just a few other things before I end this video. There are a few cards out there where positioning matters. So for instance, Mint, Strawberry Shortcake, and Silence Whisper all require your axies to be in certain rows or positions to be useful to your team. There are also cards that target enemies depending on distance, such as Shrimp, Toothless Bite, Winghorn, and Gerbil. So definitely keep this in mind if you have this in your team already or are planning to buy axies with these cards on your team, because it might have an effect on the team layout that we just talked about. Also keep in mind that you may want to change the position of your axies depending on their roles. For instance, most usually have their highest damage dealing axie in the back. In many cases, he tends to also be the fastest axie, but on some occasion, it may be best to put that sort of axie in the middle depending on the situation. As you get better, guys, you'll be able to test different positions and layouts that is best suited for your team and strategy. But for the most part, the team layout that we discussed in this video is the best overall positioning for beginners in Axie Iinfinity. So much so that you're going to see other players using the exact same position as you rank higher up in the rankings. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more Axie Iinfinity videos just like this one, don't forget to subscribe down below. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my current subscribers now. We hit 10K, guys, in such a short period of time. Thank you so much for everyone who subscribed, liked my video, and have just been part of the Nosebleed community. You guys are awesome, and you guys are the reason I continue to do what I do and why I wake up every morning motivated and ready to make a new video. And just thank you guys so much. Here is to you, here is to Axie Iinfinity, and to blockchain gaming and whatever the future holds, guys. Until next one, guys, happy farming. Peace.